Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of our Polity Quick Revision series. So in this video, we'll talk about a very important chapter, the preamble. So here we'll take a look at the keywords of the preamble, like sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, etc. Then we'll take a look at some of the debates over the amendability of our preamble. And we'll also try to solve some of the most important questions from this chapter. So without any further delay, let's get started.
The preamble to the Indian Constitution is based on something called objective resolutions. Okay, so preamble came into being, when the Constitution came into being. But even before India's independence, Pandit Nehru, he, right? So in 1946, he came out with objective resolution. Okay, and it had similar sort of ideals that have been presented in your preamble as well. If I ask you a true or false question, please do tell me. Preamble has not been amended since 1950. True or false?
False.
False. Okay. Sangeeta?
I think it has been amended once, sir.
Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, so that is good because this was amended in the 1970s. Okay, and what was introduced later? What was introduced later is that secular, socialist, okay, these elements were sort of brought in later. Okay, and we will discuss these. Okay, so all of these things are sort of important in some way or another. So we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and opportunity, and to promote amongst all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the integrity of the nation. Okay, so integrity of the nation. Even this was introduced later. All of these things. So in the 1970s, it has been amended, meaning preamble is amendable. It can be amended. Now, whether it can be amended or not, right? Even for that, we have a whole history. Now, that is again more from Main's perspective, but you should be aware of it. You should be aware of it. So when we say, for instance, if I take a few of these keywords, if I say sovereign, what would sovereign mean? Sovereign basically means that we are not anybody's like sort of we're not dependent on any other country. We're not under the British. We're not under the dominion of any other sort of a bigger power, right? We are an independent state. And even our own affairs will be conducted according to our own sort of wishes. And for that, what do we have to do? We have to go through democracy. We have to sort of select our representatives, and the representatives will take, decisions based on what their constituents probably want, right? So that is that. If I say what is socialist, right? What does establishing a socialist sort of pattern of society mean? We have both public and private sectors.
Equal opportunity to all.
Private sectors. One second. Equal opportunity to all. In fact, equal opportunity, it comes in your equality aspect, right? But that's good. Okay. So what is secular? In secular, you guys know that we have fundamental rights that provide freedom of religion. So, and freedom of religion comes under Article 25 to 28. So what are we saying through all of these? We're basically saying, hey, this is like the key to the Constitution, right? This is like the key to the Constitution. The values of the constitutions are mentioned in the preamble. And these values are going to be given, proper wording as, certain sections and articles in your constitution. That is what it says. So these are the principles. These are the sort of values of the constitutions. right? So if I say what are the keywords in the preamble, what does this stand for? So if we talk about sovereignty, it means that we are not subject to the control of any state, no external power, right? We are an independent state with, you know, an independent sort of a mandate. We have our own membership under the, you know, in United States, right? So so that is your secular sovereign. In fact, I think in 2019 there was a question, and I think you know, just a few slides from now you will be able to see it. If we say republic, what is a republic? The political sovereignty is vested in the people. Can you give me an example of not a republic state?
Saudi Arabia.
Perfect. Perfect. But what if I say England? Would you agree? Would you disagree?
It's a constitutional monarchy, so
Okay. Okay. So you guys know. Again, who was this?
Rahul, sir.
Rahul. Okay. So England is, you know, so you can have either a monarchy, as in the head of your state, okay, like our president. Who exactly is the one there? Okay. Is the head of your state elected, or is the head of your state enjoying a hereditary position? Head of state, and let me mark this as hereditary. Hereditary. Okay, and republic. Republic mean, what will you put? You can just say your head of state. Okay, and this can be direct or indirect elections. What about for our presidents? Do we have direct or do we have indirect elections?
Indirect election.
Excellent. Was it Sankita?
Priya, sir.
Priya, okay, Priya. Okay, so we have indirect elections because we have to elect our own representatives, and the elected representatives are going to be the ones who are going to elect your president. Okay, they are the ones who are going to elect the president. Okay, so that is that. And what if I say, and even more interesting topics, okay, a little, what if I say justice? Seems like a very loaded word. What is justice? Justice has to be social justice, it has to be economic justice, it has to be political justice, right? Remember all of these things because preamble say there could be a question. And what do these words mean specifically? Okay, and if you're clear on this, even if you can eliminate one option from your question, you will be able to have a better strike rate, right? So what would be social justice?
Equal treatment to all the citizens.
Perfect. Equal treatment of all without distinctions based on, let's say, gender. Okay, it does not matter whether it is a male or a female. There are countries in which, okay, even now you will be reading in the newspaper, I don't want to take names, that a woman's you know, a woman's voice, her take is only like worth like 1/2 or 1/3 of a man's voice, right? Not in India. Okay, not even in 1947, 1950 when it actually came into being. Okay, it does not depend on your religion. We're all equal regardless of our religion. It does not depend on race, right? It does not depend on your place of birth. Okay, none of these sort of social distinctions are going to result in any sort of ill treatment. Okay, everybody is going to be treated equal by the state. If I say economic justice, true or false, economic justice means the government has to provide money for all and keep everybody of equal wealth. It is non-discrimination based on economic factors. There are many aspects here economic justice may. For instance, redistribution of wealth versus your concentration of wealth. You know, when I was growing up, we used to watch movies, right? In movies, they will say Tata Birla, Okay, meaning extremely rich people. Today, Tata Birla say it has become Ambani Adani, right? You don't see Tata and Birlas as much, although I think they're doing quite well. Now it is Ambani Adani. And I read somewhere, okay, and based on some report, I think it's an Oxfam report essentially said that India's wealth, so wealth of India's richest 1%, okay, is more than, I think, 70% of the poor or something like this. Okay, I don't remember the exact stats, but something along these lines. Okay, so Oxfam report. So is that concentration of wealth? Of course, it is concentration of wealth. Similarly, political justice. That means you treat everybody equal politically, right? Everybody is treated equally, in terms of everybody has equal political rights. Okay, they have all equal access to the political offices. What if I had 2 votes for every one of your vote? Or what if you had no votes at all? Right? If you read the NCERT, I think it's class 12 political science, in that a lot of people mocked India when we decided the very first elections in 1952, we are going to go for universal adult franchise. Everybody's going to get to vote. And they all laughed. They're like, how on earth can a country go for universal adult franchise and most of the population are illiterate, right? They're going to blindly go, they'll not be able to follow the instruction. So they had a very wrong perception. But turns out whether you're educated or you're not educated, social justice, right? No distinction based on your educational criteria. So regardless of what it is, you can still use your wise judgment. If you feel that somebody is going to sort of represent the voices of the people who did not have access to education, you can go ahead and vote for that particular person. Right? Just because you're not educated does not mean you cannot vote. So these are very, very important sort of values that are there in your constitution, in your preamble, okay, which will sort of give rise to many other sort of factors, okay, many other sort of articles later. Equality of status and opportunity. Let us say that there are certain groups, socioeconomic groups, that are not doing so well economically, okay, educationally. So because of those sort of backwardness, you can sort of have some measures to improve their lot. For instance, SC and ST, we just talked about it previously, right? So things like that. So similarly, your fraternity, composite culture ke liye, right? In order to sort of respect everybody. So this is your preamble. So the preamble reveals a few ingredients or components. First thing is, it's a source of authority of the constitution. So the preamble states that the constitution derives its authority from the people of India. So we, the people of India, right? Nature of the Indian state, it declares India to be a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republican polity, right? Not all of these things were introduced. Some have been amended later. Okay, and what are the objectives of the constitution? Even those things, those sort of ideas, you'll be able to understand by looking at the preamble itself. For instance, liberty, equality, fraternity, justice, social, economic, political justice, right? All of these sort of components will be part of this. Can we amend the preamble?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir, we can amend, but without affecting the basic structure of the constitution.
Okay, that is excellent. Very well put. So that means we can skip another slide. Hopefully everybody got it. But it was not always very clear whether we can amend the constitution or not. Whether we can amend the constitution or not has also been part of sort of a debate, okay, with Supreme Court itself giving some ideas on whether it can be or it may not be. So the current position, you will notice, is that it can be amended just like any other part of the constitution, provided we do not amend the basic features of the constitution. And what are the basic features or the basic structure of the constitution? Basic structure of the constitution was something that was introduced in your Keshav Nanda Bharati case, in which they said that it means even the makers of the constitution had this in their mind, that certain aspects of the constitution, depending upon the need of the time, should be able to be modified if the people so want it. But however, that should not mean that you make like a wholesale sort of a change in the constitution. The basic principles that we have sort of decided to go with, those elements should still remain. Now, however, they did not define what is the basic structure or which parts of it are basic structures. But in various cases later, the Supreme Court, here and there has mentioned that this is the basic, these are the sort of important or the basic structures of the Constitution. Okay, just remember that. How many times has the preamble been amended?
Only once.
And what did they amend it, or what did they delete anything?
They added three
They
words.
added 3 words.
Are you sure they added only 3 words?
And removed the Property Act, right to property.
Okay. So right to property was not part of your preamble, but it is part of, there are a lot of things that happened during Indira Gandhi's time in the 1970s. A lot of sort of changes had taken place. Okay, so I know where you're coming from for this particular point, but just think of it this way. Okay, it was amended to add, certain terms: socialist, secular, integrity. Okay, some elements were added. Is preamble part of the Constitution? It is a part of the Constitution, but preamble is neither a source of power to the legislature nor a prohibition upon the powers of legislature. Is it justiciable or not? And what does justiciable mean?
I think preamble, it's like when they're not, it's not, we can't say it is not justiciable. Like if the judges are not able to, come to the conclusion, they may look up the preamble ones.
Okay, so basically it says that it is not enforceable in the courts of law. What you have is the right idea, which is a lot more valid when it comes to your DPSPs. Okay, and we will cover that also today. Okay, and even fundamental duties also, we will see this. But generally what it means is that, let us say today I feel like, my social, economic and political justice, one of these things have gone wrong. Okay, I don't feel like I've gotten that justice. I don't know, for some reason I'm unable to speak today. But again, let's say that I'm not, getting some of those. I cannot go and file, a case in court saying that, my preamble, wala, those things have gone sort of awry. But however, that is possible if it is a fundamental right. And a lot of these values that are sort of mentioned in your preamble have been given a little more teeth by mentioning it in a particular article later in the Constitution. Right? Later in the Constitution. As your fundamental right or something, just for an example. So those parts will be enforceable.
All right, guys, so that brings us to the close of our video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you found the video to be useful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the very next video.